Welcome back to another episode of Day to Day with Daidrien, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have with me international speaker Mbuge. How you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good.
That's
Another
good.
day to another damn dollar. Let's get it.
Another day, man. Another day.
Let's get it.
All the way from Brookshire.
Hey, look, that drive, humbling. I'm so serious.
Oh, man.
I'm so serious. Great impact.
How you going to start this weekend off, man?
Man, it's work, bro. It's work every single day. A
Work.
few meetings today, a few meetings tomorrow. Actually, shout out to Alex Hermosi. He's going to be doing $100 million leads this upcoming Saturday. Only reason I'm shouting it out is because he's provided a lot of free value.
Oh, you told me about
community.
Yes, told me about that class.
Yes, bro.
Thank you for reminding me, bro.
I'm telling you, he's gonna drop a lot of gems. I'm gonna be there.
Oh, I gotta register for it. I haven't registered for it
Exactly.
yet. So I'm gonna do that when we get out of here.
Yeah, just click the link and make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
So always working, man.
No, I mean, I'm just staying consistent. There's no reason to make excuses.
Okay.
And so I'm just grateful for the person that I'm becoming and understanding that I have to continue putting in work, or I'm choosing to put in work. Okay. Because I'm looking to change my circumstances.
Right. Right.
And the only way that I can change my circumstances is by changing my behavior.
All mindset, man.
Bro.
All mindset.
All the people we listen to, all the people we've learned from, all the books that we've read, it's a lot of the similar things, and I had to learn it comes down to execution. It all comes down to execution, bro.
Execution and healthy perspectives. You
know? Healthy perspectives in what sense though? Because it's all subjective, bro. Like I say, I'm gonna work 16 hours. I work a 16-hour day.
Okay.
You're like, that's unhealthy to you.
It's
unhealthy to you.
I mean,
but it doesn't mean it has to, but it's something I want to do, and I don't find it unhealthy. There's no problem.
So no matter what you do in your day, you find the time to work on yourself.
It's a must.
Okay.
In my opinion, for what I'm striving to accomplish.
Right.
That's it. It's what I want to do. I'm not worried about what anybody else thinks.
And that's the mindset you got to have in order to continue to move forward. But you don't think that can be, I don't know what, a little stressful? 16 hours, 18 hours a day?
No, not at all. Bro, like, think about it. It's all meant to be regulated, bro.
Stress is meant to be regulated.
Yes.
Stress is meant to be regulated.
Yes, emotions are meant to be regulated, bro.
Okay, that's
so
better.
Imagine, emotions, stress, it's all similar, bro. Imagine
emotions,
in my opinion, are meant to be regulated because we already understand we are emotional beings.
Right.
Therefore, our emotions are supposed to be under our control. They don't control us.
Emotions. Yes, I can understand that. But stress?
Okay, if it's external, okay, right? Because it's external circumstances, right? Let's say it's external circumstances. Life is continuing to come at you. Yes, right?
Okay.
How you respond to that is up to who?
It's up to you.
Bingo.
It's up to you.
Bingo. So
how do you, what are some of the ways you deal with stress?
For me, I write a lot, or I tentatively, it's how I kind of deal with anything, because it's so easy to have your mind be clouded, right? It's so easy that based off of the stressors that we're going through life, the stressors that we're going through within life, it's so easy to get bogged down by all the activity. However, something that I've realized is that's why I look to write. That's why I look to read. That's why I look to exercise. That's why I choose to eat 90% of the time healthy food so that I can keep my mind clear or keep my body optimized to be able to handle and regulate that stress. Because it's all subjective, because you're building up your tolerance every single time you level up.
I can agree and I can disagree because
disagree then?
Because
I've been
we've all been stressed, right?
Yes.
And there's some times where you just gotta sit in the runt of that and learn from sit in the runt and experience that.
Okay.
Because some people just can't turn it off. It comes down to the capacity of what the person can handle at the same time. But stress is something to play with, man, and the biological effects it has on the body, right? This can't be regulated like it can anger or happiness or sadness or frustration, emotions. But as far as being stressed, man, sometimes you just gotta deal with that.
You're still gonna handle it. So then therefore it's meant to be regulated. You're still going to handle it regardless. Even if you chose to sat on it, that's how you want to handle it, so be it, right? At the end of the day, life is all subjective. What I find stressful, what you find stressful are two different experiences. Or what I've gone through in my life and what you've gone through, different levels of stress. I can handle all this capacity. You can handle all this capacity. It's all subjective in my opinion.
So if it seems like pretty much a lot of things can be subjective.
Because I believe that, so you know how something I think about, right, a lot is when it comes to how somebody chooses to live their life.
Right.
That's That's your experience.
Correct.
Right? So then when we talk about something being subjective, it's so that I'm not casting certain views on you that may or may not serve you. So when I talk about stress or I talk about sadness, like there's certain things that are happening currently in my life that I could say, man, I'm really down right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm feeling really down right now.
Okay.
That's a label though. Like even in sales, you said that it seems like you are upset. It's a label that I'm intentionally casting over you to kind of get down to where it is. What's the real issue? What's the real problem? It could be the same thing that if I'm placing labels on myself saying that, man, I'm feeling really sad right now.
Okay.
I could sit in that and say that, man, I'm feeling really, or it's how you even word it. I'm feeling very emotional right now.
Okay.
But I understand that I'm getting through this. So you've acknowledged what it is that you're going through and understand that you're going to work through it.
Okay, I understand that. So when you say meant to be regulated, right? Are you finding alternatives to do and things to distract your mind from the way that you currently feel?
No, I'm handling it.
And
I personally choose to when I say regulated, I'm just more so, if we use a different word, managed.
Right. Right.
It's still
no, I understand. Yes, right? It's still the same thing.
It's still similar, like, because the thing is that like, for example, you could be going through so much in life, right? And people have certain vices that they turn to. So it could be drugs, it could be alcohol. It's just vices at the end of the day. So a healthier vice for me is that I'm going to look to work out daily. Right? So it's like, instead of me looking to overly indulge in alcohol, I said, I'm going to overly indulge in the gym. It's a choice. It's all a choice. It's all a choice. Because when you see alcohol, it's sitting there, right? Or you could go to a liquor store and buy the bottle. At that point, you made a decision to go and purchase the bottle. Then you made a decision to go and pour up the bottle. Then you made a decision to go drink the alcohol. Is that not a decision?
It's a decision. It's a decision. You know, you're correct. It's
a choice. It's a choice. Because here's the thing is that, right? I know I'm not perfect.
Okay.
I'm not perfect. I also understand that, I want to change my circumstances. Cool. What then needs to be done? Because work needs to be done in order to change my circumstances. So I could sit in that stress and I could choose to say, man, this is going to, hard times, they're not going to last forever. But is that really enough to change my circumstances? I don't think so.
So depending on how you feel, right? Because you can carry that with you. You can walk into a room and that can be felt.
Yep.
And you may not have to say anything about it. You think it's a healthy way to go about it, rather than just try to deal with that experience, as far as like putting yourself out there. Because like
what do you mean? So not to cut you off, but then if you were to explain, what does it mean, or what does it look like for you to sit in that then?
In my experience,
because then I'd say you need to get real specific on what that looks like for you.
So
that's
for example, for me, like whenever to me, there's two different types of stress. You got the stress, I'm like overwhelmed and I bit off more responsibility than I can chew. Right. And I'm a little stressed. And then you have actual stress. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Something that's causing you stress outside your control.
Right.
So, and it has, external issues that make your life a lot more complicated than what it has to be, versus you not being able to bear the responsibility you bit off. For instance, like you got a heartbreak, or you got like your car being towed because you got the wrong direction to park. Right. You thought it was I know downtown, you can be downtown and you can park on the side of the street.
They're towing cars like crazy.
And you come back and your car is gone.
That's true.
Stuff like that. Like, so
now let me ask you this. Does it serve you to cast that blame or say that, look, this is not my fault? Because the second that you say this is not my fault, you've now given that power to someone else.
Sometimes it's not your fault.
Okay, even if it's not your fault, I'd rather take responsibility for it than for me to sit here and say, bro, it's your fault. Now what? I'm pointing all these fingers at you. Nothing changes.
Okay, so.
Because what happens, you know how the quote goes, if you're born poor, it's not your fault. But if you die poor, it's your fault.
Yes.
So why do we always, so then it's like, okay, for something like that, we don't like to use that same mentality for other things.
No, I understand. And it's a way, like there's a time when to use that, for example. But I think it comes down to a healthy perspective. If you know it's not your fault, but take the blame for it anyway, what are you getting out of that?
It depends. All right, so
what are you gonna?
It could be circumstantial for, like, if we're talking about, like, because we're not, like, there's certain extremes to say that I literally had no part to play in this and this was the outcome. But there's also where in this did I fault? Where is it my fault? I'd rather ask myself that question, where was it my fault to any degree, than to say that, bro, it's not my fault. I didn't do anything.
To a degree, you have the blame to put on yourself.
At some point.
At some degree, right? But like, then it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to carry that weight on your back. You see what I'm saying? Like if I went downtown, just for not even something that's extreme, I went downtown and I got confused on where to park because the instructions are, it's an accident. And I lost my car. I don't even know where it's at. So now I got to go through the troubles to find my car and then to get it out.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
It's really unfortunate. But now what are we then steering towards, though, to say that there's times where you shouldn't take responsibility for your life? Because it's the same way to say that I was willing to have someone else be the driver and I was at the passenger seat and we got into an accident. I wasn't the one driving, so it wasn't my fault. However, I made a decision to also say, let's go somewhere.
No, you're right. You're right. So there's an extent of responsibility to bear in every situation that you're in.
It is what it is. I'd rather look to cast blame on myself and say it is my fault than for me to be like, bro, it's your fault this happened. Now what?
To an extent, yeah. Like you can tell yourself that it's my fault for getting in the car.
But I'm not even that. It could be a job. You get fired from a job. You literally get fired from a job where the decision was in HR's hands.
Okay.
What do you then do? Oh man, it's not my fault.
Not take it personal. Okay, but I mean, I'm not gonna be like,
there's some responsibility to bear. It's my fault. I got fired. Move forward.
You right.
I think that because I'm saying that's more empowering, maybe for me, to say that it's my fault than for me to be like, bro, I know that I did everything in my power. HR still let me go. Now what?
Yeah, but that's also something that's in your control at the same time. Like you like sometimes they just may be having to cut back.
It is what it is. I'd rather take responsibility for that. Say, look, it's my fault I got fired. What can I do to then get the next job offer and sit in that?
Okay.
Then for me to say, HR was hating on me because of the color of my skin.
Right.
And now I don't have a job.
Well, if you look at things like that, like what's stress to you? If you look at everything like that, what's stress to you?
All right. When you get fired?
Because honestly, I've been there and I really didn't care too much about it. Because I mean, it comes down to
responsibility. I truly believe it comes down to responsibility, no matter. Because the thing is like in this life that we're currently living, we've already stated, okay, money is not real. Or we've already stated that there's so many different ways to get wealthy. So if we sit in this and say that, man, life is too hard, interest rates are too high, people are not handing out jobs. Yes, you're right. Interest rates may not be in your direct control. Cool.
Right.
But everything else, there's some responsibility to bear. How can I change my circumstances? Because now the reason why I love the quote of a question opens the mind while a statement closes the mind, you're now open to more possibilities.
Okay.
You say that instead of saying, I cannot afford something, you say, how can I afford
something? Right.
So to say that it's one thing to say, bro, it's your fault, right? I had nothing to do with this. It's your fault. Or it's another thing to say that, how can I take responsibility for this, even though I understand the outcome was not entirely on me? I'd rather ask myself that question than for me to say that it's your fault. You're still taking responsibility. You're still not looking to take it personal, but you still understand that I have to bear the next outcome of whatever's to happen next so that I can change my circumstances.
Yes. I think the same way, but to a degree, like I wouldn't go and put the blame on somebody else. No. Because if something happens, it happens, right? If it's out of my control, if these matters are out of my control, I wouldn't let them stress me out. But there's also levels to that as well, you know. But if I had implications to help influence a decision, you see what I'm saying? Then I can understand taking responsibility, right?
Right.
I can understand agreeing to go somewhere and riding with somebody else. I can understand these things because my actions may probably lead up to a cause. So I can understand taking part of the responsibility at the end of the day, right? And blaming myself for it, because you know it is kind of empowering because you learn from it and you make better decisions
and
in the future.
And then you move forward. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Because if so the definition of stress, right, is importance attached to a thing.
Okay.
You also have, if you want to say, emphasis in the form of prominent relative loudness of a syllable or a word as a result of special effort in utterance.
Okay.
That's way longer than it needed to be. But and also a simple way to look at it is that the physical pressure pull or other force extend or exerted on one thing by another. Strain, right? So what does that then look like? It's the same thing that you said, that it's not really my fault, or it's not entirely my fault because of external forces. Yes. But instead of me looking to cast the blame on something or someone, I'd rather sit in it and say that, look, what do I need to do so that this never happens to me again? You're sitting in it, but you also understand that in order for me to go to the next level, I need to bear responsibility of everything that happens next.
Correct. No, and I respect that. I respect that, because that's how you learn. That's how you learn.
Live like this, but I'm saying that's me, that I understand that the decisions I make in my life are then what it will create the lifestyle I want to live.
That's fair. That's fair. And that's how you learn and grow. And that's great self-development. You know, and that's kind of the foundation of it.
That's it.
Blaming yourself,
or just taking responsibility.
Taking accountability and responsibility for yourself. No, I understand that.
And
I ride with that. So you know, it all comes down to it though. But everybody won't and doesn't have the capacity to have that mindset. But it's not for everybody at the same time.
But it's like, don't you believe that at times we put a lot of limitations on ourselves?
At times, I think we do. But if you don't even understand, most people don't even understand the limitations they put on themselves by the words that they use. So that's already a problem. But they have to identify it first.
That's true.
And that takes some time.
It's just self-awareness.
It's self-awareness. And everybody really doesn't have that. You see what I'm saying? I feel like it's.
But why is that? Like, if we're really to think about it, why is that people don't choose to maybe have self-awareness? Is it a sense of environment, conditioning, or they don't want to go through some of the growing pains to go through?
I think it has a lot to do with conditioning, and I think it has a lot to do with influence, and it has a lot to do with what you as an individual want for yourself out of this life. If you're somebody who doesn't want very much and doesn't really care, and you really, you know, get off to cheap thrills and going out and not really making much of yourself.
I think it depends. That's why it's all subjective, because once somebody finds either their magic number in terms of like worth or like money, or they find it in sense of fulfillment, purpose, drive, once someone has attained what it is that they desire, we just leave it at that. Because I think sometimes when we see these people talking about credit, real estate, freaking acquisition, business, entrepreneurship, ownership, all these things, I feel like it sounds great. It sounds good, but you have to consciously and willingly put yourself through the pain of attaining anything. And so it's like, do you or do you not want that? So when somebody talks about stress, I chose this because I desire this.
So is it stress for you though?
It could be.
You know, so like
you're going through growing pains of like I'm
by definition.
I'm willingly going through
But stress, let me give you, okay, so oh wow, I just closed the window out. Hold on. So okay, so stress, for instance, right? And I'm gonna read this to you. And it says, and look how heavy that this sounds. Now, I'm not even quite sure that I went through this, but it feels like I have.
You said this is the definition of stress?
It's not the definition of stress, but this is the definition of this is some of the reasons that can cause your body to go into stress. And I told you before, like there's two types of stress. You got the stress where I have a lot of work to do, it's overwhelming, right? And I have to meet certain deadlines. And you have stress where you like, I can't do anything.
Is it not mind over matter? Haven't you ever noticed? Like, because the thing is that we will literally do things that we know are uncomfortable, and we will still come out on top because our circumstances required it. If you really think about that, right?
I understand that. But if you don't have anybody relying on you, if you don't have any responsibilities,
regardless of that, how many times do people go through military training and they literally say, "Man, I didn't think I was going to pass," but why? They had to, because they were like, if you didn't pass, you were going to either get recycled or you weren't going to be able to actually become a soldier in the United States. Not even soldier. Let's just say you weren't going to be able to join the forces if you did not complete the training. So you sucked it up and made it happen.
You sucked it up because the benefits outweighed the cost. You know what you had at stake for that.
So So now you know what it goes down to.
But you know, these things are tangible, and you can get them, in a matter of time, in a very quick matter of time.
So it's instant gratification or delayed gratification.
Most likely, because why are they there in the first place?
What about this? What if it's pain versus pleasure? I remember I was listening to Alex Hormozy. The only reason I'm dropping this is because of the way it was delivered, and he said, "You're not in enough pain yet. You're not in enough pain yet."
I was going to get to that. Because
you're willing to do anything and everything that's necessary when it is required of you.
Yeah, but I was going to get to that. You see what I'm saying? When you've been through enough pain, you're going to get up and make it happen, right?
You have to.
Everybody ain't gonna go through. Everybody is not gonna have that switch in them to just, you know what? It's time. It's time. Everybody don't got that dog in them.
It's not even about the dog, because I've seen how many times somebody says, "Man, it's so hard to go out and work out," yet they will show up and work over 40 hours per week for a job because they either need to, have to, must, or they just enjoy it. They're passionate about it. Cool, but they're making the decision to do that. Fine. Now you say, "Okay, let's work out." Yeah, I don't have time for
what are the benefits for them of working out? If they have all the luxuries anyway, right? You have the women, you may have the looks, what's the benefit of you going? You see what I'm saying? And you have some people too. I was talking about this yesterday. You have some people too that, go to the gym because they care about how they look. And if they care about how they look, they care about how other people look, right? But you have this person who doesn't go to the gym and doesn't care about how they look. So if they don't care themselves about how they look, why would they care about what somebody else thinks? So what's motivating them to get in the gym? If you already can get a relationship, check that off the box. Why am I going to the gym? If you're making money, that makes up for you not going to the gym. Check that off the box. You see what I'm saying?
What if it's this? It's so easy to become complacent and just leave it at that. Because the thing is that, as we stated, growing a business or any acquisition, getting money that's not coming from a salary, whatever the case is, right?
Right.
It's relatively harder because your check is not guaranteed all the time. Maybe you have to handle objections. You have to handle contracts. You have to handle, maybe it closed already, but you have to wait for the check. So you're going through these growing pains, and this is the reality of it. So what if it's just easier that I don't have to do all that if I just live the life I currently have? And once again, there's nothing wrong with that.
It all comes down to the person, man, because honestly, it does. But it does. But honestly, you're just a person who just wants more for yourself. So you're willing to do that. This is why there's a small percentage of people who have the capacity to make those type of deliveries.
But here's the thing, though. When we also talk about that, too, how many times have you heard that you can still have that dog in you and it still doesn't come to fruition? And that's a reality, too.
Do you want it bad enough?
Bro, you could still be a dog and life is just...
I can stand behind that because everybody ain't gonna make it. Everybody ain't gonna make it. So I understand that. It's the reality of it.
Man,
I understand that.
It's cutthroat. There's over 50,000 realtors in Houston. Everyone's not gonna close some deals. Or even if you are, you may close 3 deals a year, but I'm not looking to just close 3 deals a year. I want my own market share.
So I understand that. But how many people got the money to spend on these houses with the current inflation rate steady rising? And then not only that, can you even trust the real estate agents, to be honest?
It depends on who you're talking to. No, it depends on who you're talking to. It depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
It depends on who you're talking to.
They really can't be trusted.
No, it depends. It depends. It really depends.
It depends on the person, though.
It depends on the person, because what happens? They say you have to know, like, and trust you. Once they know, like, and trust you, they're willing to do business with you. Or it was a referral. So now, because I've already built a relationship here, oh, have you met my realtor? Bingo, plug me in. That's it. Over with. Because of trust, right? They like me and they know me. And then, of course, too, through the transaction, maybe they learned something about real estate. Or through the transaction, you can feel that I truly want the best for you. Because if you're talking about inflation rates, or right, we're talking about interest rates, it comes down to then, if you have the money, this is side note, not a main note, but if you have the money to purchase a home, purchase a home. If not, don't. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're not able to pay your mortgage, and then now you may have to look to foreclose. It's not worth it. That's it. So now it comes down, though, to the same way that we're saying who has the money. You just asked the question. There are definitely people out here who are in IT, healthcare, lawyers, doctors. So they have money. The money is out there. Point blank. Period.
It's out there, but majority of them don't have it. Not only that, what about
the people? Are we gonna say majority of them don't have it,
or they don't? 80% of the population will live paycheck to paycheck, bro. Even people who make 100,000, even people who make 100,000 a year,
bingo,
still live paycheck to paycheck
by choices. That's by choices. You make over you in the top 1% of earning capacity, and you live in paycheck to paycheck. What happened? What happened?
Well, okay, just because that person's making money, you have to be taught how to manage that. If you're not taught to manage that, then how are you supposed to?
You have to be taught, or you can actually learn it. Once again, comes you can be born poor. It's your fault. If you die poor, or you're born poor, it's not your fault.
If I ask 100 people, is money real or fake? Most of them are gonna tell me the wrong answer. So tell me, so be honest, bro, about this situation, bro. It's not there. Making money, yes. Making money it's a lot easier than understanding how to use it. It's complicated. Okay. It's not money.
It can be simplified.
Money isn't even called money. It's called legal tender or Federal Reserve notes. So if I ask somebody how much Federal Reserve notes you want me to pay you, they're gonna be like, what? And that's the real term for it. It's legal tender. So
it's contracts. Or the money's just in contracts. I learned that But anyways. At the end of the day, it comes down to decisions or choices. Like imagine you see somebody, how many people have you seen? How many people have you seen walking around iced up, changed? I'm talking about, what do they do for a living? Whether if they know money is fake or real, they understand that I can get money.
They understand that. Okay.
So what I'm saying is that it's hard, it's treacherous, it's going to be difficult. Are you willing to go through that or not? Doesn't matter if it's fitness, doesn't matter if it's money, doesn't matter if it's relationships. Are you willing to go through that pain? Yes or no? And that's it. It's all subjective.
It's not, I don't think it's a matter of are you willing to do it? I think it's a matter of is it worth it? Because that person don't found no value in it, they're not gonna do any of that. It doesn't matter. One ear, not the other. I want to read this to you. It says, and it's about the agony of a person. It's about stress in a way, right?
Okay.
And many people don't know this, right? But it says studies show that the agony of a person experienced during a breakup triggers the same exact part of the brain stimulated during an addiction withdrawal. A brain scan of a person who recently experienced a romantic loss will look very similar to that of a recent cocaine addict. So
what
under the stress of that type of stress of losing something important to you, tell me how
it hurts or it hits different. So you're building up your tolerance, though, bro. It's the same way you're building up your tolerance.
It don't get no easier.
It doesn't, but it's the same way when you go to the gym. It's the same way.
It doesn't get any easier.
Okay, but it kind of does, though.
So with the next
because you're building up your tolerance, bro. When you go to the gym, right? You didn't start out strong. You started out, this is just the bar. Maybe not even the bar. You go get something that's less than the bar. You're building up your tolerance, bro. You talking about
that, going through that pain and this pain is completely different.
Maybe because it's choice, right? It's choice.
Different.
But okay, for example, you talking about external factors, right? Yes, you made a decision to join the military, armed forces, whatever you want to call it, right? Yes. Now the pain of which you go through that training, you didn't know what you were signing up for. Maybe you did to an extent, but now you're left with those decisions. So you over here, if it's low crawling or if it's you in 120-degree weather, it is what it is.
Yeah, but is it worth it to them? If I go through these few months of training,
I
get to travel, I get to go abroad, I get benefits.
Maybe it's not because some people join. How many TikToks have you seen somebody join the military? Then you go ask them, why'd you join? Oh, I wanted a Hellcat. Was it worth it? No. But they still did it. So you're left with those choices. Point blank. Period.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all. What I tell everybody is at the end of the day, all you have is your decisions. You don't even have time. You have decisions. That's all you have. That's all you have.
And I think
decisions you make today.
Leave it at that. Leave it at that. If it's stressful, it's up to you to go through that stress. Do you want it or not? That's it. And leave it at that. Because imagine if I profess these things that I desire and that you never see me putting in work. You said that man said he wants to go do all that in life. He not putting in no work.
None,
not at all. You see what I'm saying? So it's a choice. I'm willing to go through those growing pains. That's it. And I don't think that people should more so be judged because they want to go through that suffering. I only got one life. I'm not even promised tomorrow.
That's the attitude to have.
I'm willing to do what I need to do.
That's the attitude to have.
I'm not promised tomorrow. This life is not promised. And people moving. I remember my first year in real estate, one of the realtors told me, he was definitely a seasoned gentleman. And he said, a lot of people are sleepwalking through life. I said, say that again.
Say that one more time, yeah.
He said, a lot of people are sleepwalking through life. And that hit because how many times you can say that, yes, it's our environment. Yes, we have been set up, or we have been segregated against. They've wanted to limit us time and time again.
Right.
And we've still made a decision to rise above that. We can do it again. Or we can keep sleepwalking through life. Point blank period.
Point blank and period. Point blank and period.
That's it. That's it.
That's
the truth, bro. Like, or that's maybe my truth. That's it.
No, that's what it has. That's what it is. That's why it's the quote right here for a reason.
Look.
So that's what you got to think about.
Let's get to
when
work.
it comes down to it. Is it worth it? Is it worth it?
That's a great question. Is it worth it?
Is it worth it to you? And if it's worth it to you, go for it. You know, because
that's powerful.
Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to, like you said, are you in enough pain? Have you been through enough pain yet to decide whether or not to make the decision for yourself to take the jump?
That's it.
Because at this point, I got nothing else to lose.
And those people are dangerous.
Those are the people who didn't wait for the right time.
What? Talking about, man.
Didn't wait for the right opportunity. Didn't wait for anything. They just took the chance. They just took it. They just jumped. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're hearing this message, it is your time to jump.
Based off your circumstances. At your discretion. Be great.
If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.